You've all heard the expression, some like it hot, but you'll probably agree no one likes it this hot. Heat causes considerable stress on your mind and body. It can seriously affect your health and safety. So whether it's a hot working environment or just hot weather, you need to take special precautions when temperatures are high. Everyone is a potential victim of heat stress, both on and off the job. The primary danger here is that the effects of heat can creep up on you. And before you realize it, you can be suffering from health problems that range from minor discomfort to life-threatening complications. In the next few minutes, we're going to show you what heat stress is, what the symptoms are, how to prevent it, and what to do about it if it happens to you. In other words, we're going to show you how you can be safer in the heat at work, at home, and at play under any circumstances. Let's begin by seeing how your body handles heat. This will tell us what heat stress is and how it affects you. Your body is like a furnace. It burns fuel and manufactures heat. This unique heating system monitors the warmth of the blood and constantly regulates the temperature of your body and keeps it at an even 98.6 degrees. When your temperature exceeds 98.6 degrees, your heart responds by pumping more blood. The blood then circulates closer to the surface of your skin and releases excess heat. When that's not enough, your body starts sweating. As the perspiration evaporates, your skin is cooled. Under normal conditions, your body regulates itself perfectly. But heat stress occurs when abnormally hot air and/or humidity or extremely heavy exertion prevents your body from cooling itself quickly enough. For example, when temperatures soar near or above your body temperature, then your body has a very hard time cooling itself. And the same is true when the humidity is very high. Perspiration doesn't cool your body unless the sweat evaporates. And the sweat can't evaporate quickly enough when the humidity is too high. If either of these conditions exist, your body overheats, and one of three basic forms of heat stress can result. Heat cramps are painful muscle spasms that occur when you are sweating heavily in high heat. Any muscles may be affected, but most often it's the muscles you've been working with. Heat exhaustion is a more serious condition. It involves a variety of symptoms, including weakness and nausea, and is sometimes preceded by heat cramps. Heat exhaustion results when your body loses too much water through heavy sweating. Heat stroke, the most serious form of heat stress, occurs when the body's regulatory system simply breaks down. This can happen with very little warning, and if not treated, can lead to loss of consciousness and death. All forms of heat stress affect your health, but it's important to know that excessive heat isn't only a health problem, it's a safety problem too. For example, heat can produce sweaty palms. That means tools and materials can slip out of your hands. Sweat is also a good conductor of electricity, which increases the risk of injury by electrical hazards. Heat can also cause dizziness, weakness, and fatigue, all of which can lead to accidents. Other effects of heat are decreased mental alertness and impaired physical performance. The discomfort associated with heat also leads to irritability, which can cause people to lose their tempers and act rashly, as well as skip or ignore safety procedures. In other words, heat stress is nothing to take lightly.
Hey, are you okay?
You don't look so good.
I'm really tired and I feel dizzy.
Come on, sit down. Let me get you some water and I'll call the boss too.
No, it's okay. I'll be all right.
In this heat, we can't take chances. Now, just sit there and rest.
Joe did the right thing here. Heat stress can have serious consequences and should never be ignored.
As a team trainer, I see a lot of heat stress in the football field, especially during summer practice. So I know that even mild cases need attention. More serious cases can be life-threatening and need emergency medical treatment. That means you need to know how to recognize the symptoms of heat stress, not only in others, but in yourself as well.
What are the symptoms of heat stress? The most common symptoms of heat stress include painful spasms of the muscles, heavy sweating, extreme weakness, fatigue, mental confusion, nausea, and headache. The type of symptoms you feel vary depending on the form of heat stress you are experiencing. If you experience any of these symptoms or notice them in someone else, get help immediately. Of course, you shouldn't wait for the symptoms to develop before taking action against heat stress. There are a number of things that you can do to prevent suffering from heat stress, even when you are exposed to high temperature and humidity. Of course, you can't change the weather, and you may not be able to control your working conditions inside. So how do you prevent heat stress? Let's take a look now at how you can work more comfortably and safely under hot conditions no matter where you are.
Fortunately, given sufficient time, most people are capable of adjusting to heat. This means you have less chance of suffering from heat stress if you give your body time to get used to hot environments. For example, if you gradually expose yourself to warmer temperatures before attempting strenuous activities, you're much less likely to suffer from heat stress. But that's not always possible. So here are some other measures you can use anytime to prevent heat stress. One of the most dangerous aspects of heat stress is dehydration. Dehydration is the serious depletion of water from your body. What makes it so dangerous is that you're not aware of it as it's happening. But the fact is, during a day's work in high temperatures, you can actually produce as much as 3 gallons of sweat. Sitting near a cool breeze will not prevent dehydration. You must replace the fluid you've lost. So remember to drink plenty of fluids all day long. In fact, when the temperature is extremely high, you should drink a glass of water or juice about every half hour. Although replacing salt is a concern, in most cases, the best way to compensate for loss of salt is to use a little more salt in your daily diet. Most experts agree that salt tablets should not be used. You should be especially cautious if you have heart problems or if you're on a low-sodium diet. Consult your doctor now to find out what you should do in the event of heat stress.
Replacing lost fluid and salt is very important, but there are other things you can do as well to prevent heat stress. For example,
I guess we're going to have to.
avoid hot, heavy meals. More desirable are fruits, vegetables, and salads. They're more easily digested and generate less body heat.
Let's see. I think I'll have the salad. What are you going to get? I don't know. I'm starved. I guess I'll have the special. Pot roast and mashed potatoes on a hot and muggy day like this? How are you going to feel later when you have a big meal like that? I guess you're right. Okay. I'll have the turkey sandwich and a small salad. Great.
Eating light is a good way to prevent heat stress, and so is dressing light. Lightweight, light-colored clothing that's not too tight helps keep you cool when the temperature is high. This kind of clothing allows perspiration to evaporate, which helps your body regulate its internal temperature. Sometimes your personal protective equipment may make you feel a little uncomfortable. But keep in mind that the reason that you wear PPE is to protect yourself from other serious hazards. So don't ever be tempted to remove your personal protective equipment just because you feel a little warm. However, if you experience serious difficulty, consult your supervisor. Another important point to remember is to be sure to take your scheduled breaks to cool off. In hot conditions, your body needs adequate time to rest. Be sure to take your breaks away from the heat if possible. That brings up another important point about the heat. If possible, avoid strenuous activity during the hottest part of the day. Whenever possible, try to schedule extremely strenuous work and recreation activity during the coolest parts of the day. Of course, you can't always schedule your work activities around the heat, but when it comes to recreational activity, use your common sense. And there's one more thing that you can do to protect yourself from heat stress. If you work outside, protect yourself against the sun. Wear a cap or a hat with a wide brim to shield your head and face. In fact, it's a good idea to wear a hat in the sun no matter what you're doing. So far, we've discussed ways to prevent heat stress. But what do you do once the symptoms occur? What do you do when you or a coworker is actually suffering from the symptoms of heat stress? That's when you need to know the difference between when you can treat the problem yourself and when you must call for emergency medical help. How do you treat heat stress? Well, that depends on the type of heat stress you're dealing with. If you're dealing with heat cramps, for example, the treatment is relatively simple. Have the person sip water slowly for an hour or longer. Gently massage the cramped muscles. The person should rest because heat cramps are often a warning sign of approaching heat exhaustion. Heat exhaustion should be treated immediately. It's a serious condition and can lead to heat stroke. Help the person lie down and elevate the feet. Loosen tight clothing. Offer sips of water and, if possible, sponge the skin with a cold, wet cloth. If the victim vomits, do not give any more fluids. Call for emergency medical help immediately.
Okay? Immediate emergency medical help is always required for heat stroke. How do you tell the difference between heat stroke and heat exhaustion? People suffering from heat exhaustion will be sweating heavily, but their temperatures will be near normal. Victims of heat stroke, on the other hand, won't perspire because their sweating mechanisms will have shut down. As a result, they will be running a very high temperature. A heat stroke victim's skin will be hot to the touch, red and dry. The pulse is rapid and strong, and the victim may have lost consciousness. What should you do? The very first thing, of course, is to call for medical help. And because heat stroke is a life-threatening problem, you must take immediate first aid measures to cool the body quickly. So until emergency help arrives, do everything you can to cool the victim's body. Use cold water, fans, anything that will help lower the body temperature. But don't, repeat, don't give the victim anything to drink.
Remember, any form of heat stress can be a serious health and safety problem. So no matter what the symptoms, get help immediately. Delay can cause serious complications. You now know what heat stress is, what the symptoms are, and how to treat them. But keep in mind that prevention is the key. So let's quickly review the ways that you can prevent heat stress. Be sure to drink plenty of water all day long. At least 1 glass every half hour on hot days is recommended. Avoid eating hot, heavy meals. Try light, cool foods instead. Wear light-colored clothing. Lightweight, light-colored clothing will help keep you cool. Take scheduled breaks in a cool place if possible. Try to get away from the source of the heat. Avoid strenuous activity during the hottest part of the day. When possible, try to do your heaviest work during the coolest parts of the day. Wear a hat or some other type of head covering when working to protect yourself against the sun. This will shield your head and face and reduce the likelihood of heat stress. As you've just seen, heat stress is a serious health and safety problem. It can strike anyone, at any age, at any time, during any kind of activity. So do everything you can to prevent heat stress. And during hot weather, or under any conditions when the temperature is high, keep on the lookout for symptoms in yourself and others. Then if you ever feel any of the symptoms that we've discussed, make sure that you get help right away. Remember, if you take the proper precautions, you can work more safely and efficiently in any kind of weather.